We're Chris and Nicole, and we're converting a tiny home on wheels and cannot wait to hit the road later this spring. Now that we have our air conditioner installed and the heater up and running, it's time to finish the foundations of the van in preparation for a moment that we have been waiting for since we started the van. Good morning, and welcome back to another week of building up the van.
Week number 6.
I, again, can't believe we're at 6 weeks, a month and a half of building the van. Time has definitely flown by.
Yeah, and hopefully as we keep going, it just starts like ramping up in terms of what looks like progress week over week and stuff. So I think I'm really excited to start getting the walls up, finished. That's the first piece of finishing touches we'll put on the van. So
I know. So last week, if you watched our video, we installed the air conditioner, which you can see right here. We are super excited to get that hooked up in a few weeks and actually feel that cool air coming down and make sure it works.
Yeah.
We did want to touch on why we got a 12-volt air conditioner, because we actually didn't talk about that at all, and that was something that was really important. I think that we share with you why we went 12-volt, not a regular RV
AC,
air conditioner.
Yeah, the key is that the 12-volt air conditioners, while there's not very many of them on the market, are more efficient because they're running right off your DC power. They still do, they're pretty hungry on the juice, so you do need to have a pretty significant battery bank. However, you're going to find that you're going to get much more time out of your air conditioner than you would if you just had a normal RV air conditioner running through your inverter. So they do cost more, but it's a trade-off because you get more out of them. So it's kind of depends on what your use case is. If you're going to be plugged in all the time, if you're going to be plugged into the wall all the time, then you're probably fine with just a normal one. But if you're trying to go off grid like we are and trying to eliminate that, then this is a great option.
And we want to introduce you to the number one reason we originally started talking about the air conditioner is Dino! We really wanted to make sure that we had something that would keep her cool, because being a husky, she gets quite hot in the summer. We're always putting her in lakes and rivers and just making sure that she stays nice and cool. Our RV does have an air conditioner, and we are known to be those people that fire up our generators when we go on a space that cannot take dogs, so that she stays nice and cool in our RV. So we wanted to do the exact same thing so that she, being a part of our family, had the exact same experience and was comfy and cozy and happy when she's traveling with us. She's going to be with us every time we hit the road. So, and we also want to be comfortable. We know that everybody relies on the Max Air fans, and we think that the Max Air fans are going to do an awesome job, but we felt that the air conditioner was worth the additional money just to make sure that Kino never overheated.
And us too.
And us too.
Because heat makes you cranky.
Absolutely. We've spent many nights in our RV oiling to death when we would not have shore power, and they weren't very comfortable.
Yeah. So we're here today to get some of the last things we need to get done before spray foaming. Then we're going to take it home, get a little bit more done through the week, and then leading up to Friday when we get all that spray foam done. So we'll get started on that.
Yeah, we're ready to work.
First step of the day is to start with some of the spray foam. We've got a gun here, and our goal is to fill all of these cavities where when Frank does his spray foaming later this week, he's going to be filling all of these big gaps and such, but not so much of these little gaps along like these ribs that hold the skin on the van. And if we don't fill those up and we just left them open, that's where all the heat's going to escape through the winter months and such. So we need to make sure that those are filled up. And then Nicole is working on gluing. She's going to be gluing all of these little areas where there's gaps. There's like all these ribs, and if there's a gap between the outside skin and the inside, we're going to try to create a seal. That way when Frank does his spray foaming, the foam doesn't get behind there and start to push out on the outer skin, making the outside of the van look a little bit funny. So we're going to kind of tackle this, and we're really hopeful that we can move through it pretty quickly.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. So we did a little bit of spray foaming. You can see it in there. It's starting to expand out. I just want to do a little bit at a time so we see how much it expands. It's like 50% expansion. So also want to see like what point this kind of becomes hard and whether we need to tape up the holes as we go further and all that stuff. So we'll do a little bit of a test with this, and then we'll continue on. Nicole's doing a pretty good job with the glue, and you can see she's just filling in all those gaps so that the spray foam won't get in there and get trapped and try to expand outwards. And while she's doing that, I'm going to do some measurements on the roof for our roof rack, because that order needs to get in soon, and while they are a standard roof rack for this type of van, the cutouts are custom. So we need to tell them exactly the measurements on a roof, where our air conditioner is sitting, now that it's in there, and where our fan is, and then that way they can do those cutouts and it'll be totally ready when we go out there and get it installed. So we're gonna get working on that.
That's a wrap on the garage for today. We are heading home. We've got some more work to do at home, but we're
Lots of work.
We're taking the van home for the rest of the week. Temperatures are looking good, so we're heading home.
Yep. Got a little bit more sealant to do that I want to do on the air conditioner at home. I just noticed a few little things, but I'm planning on, I think I can get through that this evening, and just to make sure that that's nice and watertight. And then we've got the spray foam, which we started today. It's actually looking pretty good, and then we'll keep working on that through the week. So I think I just like the spray foam and the edges and stuff. So
let's pack up and we're gonna hit the road.
All right.
Welcome back to another morning on the van build. Today we are taking off all of the black plastic trim on the van. If you own a Sprinter, this is something that is so important to do to your van. Why? Because the plastic pieces that hold onto the van are not watertight. That way you might get water leakage in, and then eventually you get rust. Rust is like the worst thing that you want to have in your van, especially once you do things like what we're about to do with the insulation, because we will not be able to see it in the walls. So all of a sudden it just slowly starts to become a bigger problem. So what we're doing is taking off all the paneling. They're just on clips. We're gonna put sealant around the clips, and then we're gonna put it back in so that it is watertight, sealed, and if there's any nicks on the metal or anything, we're going to be adding some trim clad to make it rust proof. So that way hopefully we just get no rust on the van. So I'm not sure if this is a problem in the ProMasters or the Transits or any of the other vans, but I know this is definitely an issue with Sprinters. So if you have a Sprinter, this is something that's really important to take a look at. So we're going to get going on that. So Chris just came home from work for a quick second to help me out. Some of these were bending as I was pulling them back, and I didn't want to break the physical panel. So I wanted to just have a second set of eyes on it. But what we realized...
Yeah, all these clips here, a lot of the videos that I've seen of the Sprinters, make sure a lot of the videos that I've seen of the Sprinters have clips that don't have gaskets on them. And these ones all have O-rings around every one of the clips, which would keep the water out. So I'm thinking it definitely looks like they've improved their design. So I think the best plan is actually just to put this back on and not touch it, and we'll kind of keep an eye on it over the years to see if these gaskets start going. I've only seen this on one other video, and it was a 2019 Sprinter, and I don't think they necessarily maybe needed to do it. So we're going to go on the side of putting it back on. If you guys have had a 2018 or newer Sprinter and you've had issues with these, let us know, because then maybe we could still do it in the future. But I think it's not worth the hassle, given that they look like they've made improvements. So
the nice thing about this is we can always take this off at any time. Really, it's on the exterior of the van. It was a bit of a pain for me to get off, but like overall.
Yeah. Did you have to go inside and clip them all, or?
No, I couldn't even get access to them from the door because of that black panel's in the way.
So you just
pulled it all out.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So yeah, we're gonna try to put it back on, see how that goes.
Hopefully it's easier.
I think I'll have to order a few more clips, though.
Yeah, I broke about 6 clips pulling them out. I even was trying to be super careful. I watched a bunch of videos on how people did it. They say use a screwdriver, but I was starting to scratch the paint, so we might have to trim clad up a few spots that I scratched. But we'll definitely just order a few new clips. Maybe choose one of the smaller panels and take all the clips off that and just replace that panel when all the door clips come in.
Yeah, good.
All right, let's get those back on.
Okay, a quick break from the van build. I thought I would take you guys for a quick flight with me. This is a bit of a special flight because it's the first time that I'm going to be able to head away from the airport solo. So normally when I'm flying solo, I'm taking off, going through the circuit, and then landing again, and just practicing those takeoffs and landings. This time I'm going to be able to take off and I'm going to head north. So I'm going to leave Bunville in Markham, head north along the 404, fly around the Mount Albert area, kind of lower Lake Simcoe area, practice some basic maneuvers like steep turns, stalls, and slow flight, and then head back. So it's gonna be a fun one. The weather's looking good, and it's just fun because this is the first one you start feeling like you're actually becoming a pilot, because you're actually able to go for a little bit of a trip on your own that you actually leave the airport. So come along for the ride. The best part about flying solo is you don't need to wear a mask. At the end of this marathon of a week. It's Thursday, tomorrow's spray foam day, so it means today every little thing has to be tied up or wrapped up so that it's all ready. What I'm going to start on here is I've got this nice little diagram I got from the people that will be putting a roof rack in, and that's where they want wires to go outside. So I've got to run wires that will ultimately be used for our outside lights through now before it spray foams, and then that way everything gets locked in. So right now I'm gonna take these two little caps that are gonna go on the roof, and that's where the wires are gonna come through. So I'm gonna try to get that done first while we still have daylight, and then as the evening goes on we can do stuff inside the van. So let's get started on that. These are my little cable seals. They're marine grade and have this plastic grommet here that I need to freeze that, and then I'll drill holes that are basically the size of the wires I need to put through, and you can put up to 4 in each one, and then once it kind of warms up, it'll tighten around the cable and make a nice waterproof seal. Alright, I've picked a spot for the cable ties, so I'm going to put one here, or cable runs or whatever you call them. It's going to be one here, one on the other side of the max air fan, and then one of the sets of wires will run to a light bar on the front, and then we're going to have 2 lights on each side of the van, 2 on the left, 2 on the right, 2 on the rear, and those will all be switched individually, so you can decide which side you want to throw the light. But I think right here, on here, I'm just going to drill that piece right onto there, drill the holes through, and I think we should be good. Okay, so I've got a little bit of Sikaflex RV sealant on this little gasket here, and then this will go and go on the van, and then this will mount right on top of it, and then after that the other pieces just kind of go from there. So I'm going to go stick this where I want it to go on the van, and we should be able to go right about there, and that's that. So now I just need to wait for that grommet to freeze. We'll put that on, I'll drill through, and then ultimately end up with holes that the wires will go through. And then we put the cap on, and we are done this job. Next up on the cram list of the day is to get this wire run, which I just already ran the alternator wire. It's this nice thick one. That way it's a heavy gauge wire, which will be good for when we add a second alternator later on. And I'm running 2 wires here, which will be my positive and negative leads, which will power all the outside lights. So it's a little bit heavier gauge. It's going to run to a little bus or fuse box, 12-volt fuse box underneath the driver's seat that I'll install, and then that'll run to like the front light bar, side lights, and all that stuff. So another thing to check off the list for the day. And if anyone's wondering what Nicole's doing, she's hard at work inside trying to get all the painting done for all the boards, because as soon as we get spray foamed, then we're pretty much at the point where we can start hanging the ceiling and the walls. So we want to get that painted nice and early, and then that way we don't have any delays. So that's what she's inside hard at work doing while I'm out here. Alright, I run wires through the ceiling there. Those are the lights. Marked them with like a little red sticker just to show which ones are the positive cables. Those will be the lights for the sides. They've run all the way around, down, around the side panel. and they're all going to connect underneath the seat there. So that's one more thing done, and then now we're just trying to clean up and then wrap all these wires with bags and stuff so that they stay clean during the spray foam process. And Nicole is finishing up the window frame and mounting that on the passenger side. Do you need a hand? Okay.
Nice and snug.
I think that's good.
That's awesome. That looks good. The back
Yeah.
looks good. I'm happy with that.
So let's go eat dinner.
Alright.
And then back out for some more in the dark. It's just after 9 p.m. and we are still just finishing the cramming for the spray foam.
We're almost there.
Yeah. We've got the cardboard cutouts to kind of cover all the things that we don't want to be sprayed. So we're kind of sealing all the edges with tape. We still have a little bit of work to do up here around the air conditioner, and Nicole's got cardboard cutouts for everything like the fan. And then we've got to do tarps on all these doors, tarp off the whole front area so that no spray foam gets over there, and tarp off the back. So we're nearing the finish line, and then hopefully this is the last like hard deadline we have with the build, because we love building, but we don't like building. So we're hoping for a little bit more of a relaxing next week, and I think it'll be rewarding next week because we'll be putting up some of the finishing touches like the ceiling and things like that, so it'll start really feeling good. So not enough talking, time to get some work done. It is almost, or no, it probably is already Spray Foam Friday. We're still in the van prepping, so we're just...
Good morning.
Yeah,
We
good
haven't
morning.
even gone to bed yet, but good morning.
So the joys of van building and what we're experiencing right now. We just finished all the tarping, so everything here is tarped and ready to be spray foamed. So the full forward cab is tarped, the side doors, and even the back door. And we're going to cut a slit into the tarp to be able to sneak out.
Currently trapped.
Yeah, actually, yeah, this is going to be fun. But I think we're good. So, time to get some sleep, and then tomorrow is all about the spray foam.
It's spray foam day!
Yeah, it's looking good, and it's like a green color. So we were kind of wondering what color the spray foam was going to be. We've seen purple, we've seen gray. Oh, it looks good so
Mint
far.
green.
Yeah, we can't really show you right now because it's because of all the fumes and it's kind of all tarped off. But he's working hard in there, so.
We are GoProing it. It's covered in a bag, so we're not 100% sure of the quality, but we are doing our best to kind of show you what is going on in there. So we also are going to drop Frank's link. Frank is awesome. Frank is a family friend. He is local to the GTA and Simcoe region in Ontario. We're going to drop his link below for anybody that is interested in getting their van spray foamed. He has been so helpful, prepping us and just telling us little tips and tricks that is going to make the van even warmer for us.
Yeah. So we can't wait, because now that this is done, we can start cleaning up and start putting some of those finishing touches on it and start feeling like a van.
Finishing touches, we've got to make
So yeah, but like finishing touches mean it's the first time you're putting something on
I
that's gonna
know.
be like
I
I don't
know.
know, like front facing stuff. Walls.
We're really excited. So Chris is going back to work, but I'm going to be here until it's done, so I will show you the van once it is all done and minty green and ready to go home.
Well, we just got home, so I'm going to show you spray foam, it is super green. So there it is. We are going to let it breathe for the night. Frank said that it might expand just a little bit more in certain areas, so he wants us to let it breathe. We are going to have to do some scraping. There are certain areas that is covering over our wall frames that we need to get access to. We're gonna have fun pulling out some of our electrical, but everything looks so incredible. And he even scraped the floor. The floor is like flush. I'm so happy about that. That is way less work that we are not going to have to do tomorrow. So we have two things that he said is a wire brush that will help you get around smaller areas or areas that have wires like here and stuff. If we need to scrape that back at all, that is definitely a lot safer. And then there is a scraper that we got from Home Depot. We have a 2-inch scraper. It's just plastic, and that will help us pull out bigger chunks if we have any. That's often used on the floor. Looks like we're not going to have to do it, so that is perfect. So we are taking the night off from the van build because we were up till midnight last night and we are gassed. So we will see you tomorrow morning, or I will see you tomorrow morning to get all this done. Have a good night. It's time to clean up the spray foam. So I have a wire brush and I'm going to get to work. I'm going to untape all of the electrical. We're going to take a peek if there's any areas that we need to really clean up or just the wire brush. So we're going to get started on that, and hopefully we're done before Chris is home from work today. Let's get started. The most satisfying feeling isn't it nice to be loved?
Oh, it is. Look at all that air. It's like snowing out here. So we've got the original subfloor in. It's over top of like all of our spray foam. I want to see if we can fit some of the bolts in. That way it kind of holds the floor down. In some spots we've got the wood runners that are in the way, but this one looks like it's pretty good, so I'm going to see if I can find the hole and then we can try to see whether the bolts fit. We'll probably have to get some bigger bolts than were in here, or will for sure, but these basically just fit right in there. First thing we're going to do is just trim off a little bit of the edges of this thing because the spray foam has taken up a little bit of the walls. So we'll do a little edge cut, and then we'll use the jigsaw to cut out where the mill wall boxes are that we've created. I'll just kind of come around there, and then it should just drop in.
Perfect.
And then dinner.
Yes. And beer,
And beer.
please. All right,
All right.
let's get going.
I'll trim the sides first.
Here. You think we're done for the night?
Yep, basically.
Perfect, because I've got celebratory drinks.
Oh, nice. Thank you. That was the last, I think that was the last wire.
Nice.
We untie those, but. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. I think I splashed you in the face.
Worth it.
Oh.
So, with that, we are wrapping up a very, very busy but very successful week.
Very tedious and successful.
Your face is covered in spray
Oh yeah,
foam.
it's everywhere.
We both need showers pretty bad. But we had a really good week. The floor is officially in. We are spray foamed and we are on to bigger
Yeah.
and better things.
Now the fun stuff starts.
We are super excited to get started tomorrow morning. We're putting in the ceiling.
Yeah, and all the pot lights. Can't wait.
So thank you again for following along on this build. We are having an absolute blast. We cannot believe that it has already been 6 weeks of the build. If you love following along and you are not subscribing, we would love to ask you if you could please subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and hit that bell if you want to get the notifications when we post a new video every time.
We'll see you next week.
Bye guys.